back. I'm listening to music in the background. Y'all can't hear it though, but we're gonna use this to get warmed up, man. Make sure y'all tap in and start sharing the show out. The phone lines are wide open tonight, by the way. Y'all see the number 914-998-6942. But before I get fully, yo, Alexa, hey Alexa, play DMX, it's all good. I know y'all can't hear it, but let's use this to get the flow going. Y'all let me know how I sound out there. Is my sound good? Oh, let me get the phone lines. Let me start that up. I mean, because there's going to be a lot of things that we cover today. It's going to be very interesting today. Now, I'm doing something that y'all never seen before. The fact I'm doing something that y'all never seen before. Let me get these phone lines going real quick. Alexa, turn on. Let me get these phone lines going real quick, y'all. Gotta set up the phone. The phone lines are open now, people. The phone lines are open. See something. Oh, my voice sound
Crazy. My voice was sounding crazy. Y'all ain't telling me nothing, man. Like, what's going on here, man? What's really happening with y'all, man? Y'all wasn't telling me nothing. Let me take that off, man. Do I sound good? You know, I use that voice for when people want to call in and be anonymous. You know, I could use the robot voice. I could do all that. You know what I mean? But we live right now. Let me just check the stream, make sure that we where we need to be. Make sure where we need to be. Let me see. Got to make sure where we need to be, man. We just got to make sure where we need to be. How y'all feeling today? What's going on with y'all? Y'all doing good? How's everything? We back, man. I'm trying to tell y'all that we are back, and we go get into it. You know, we're going to talk about the lack of accountability with the MTA, man. It's really crazy with these people out here. Let me see something real quick. I feel kind of rusty. You know what I'm saying? I feel a little rusty. Feel a little rusty. Is my mic fixed now? Do y'all hear me loud and clear? Do y'all hear me loud and clear? Put some thumbs up if you hear me loud and clear. We good now. Thank you. Thank you. That's my twin brother right there, man. Thank you, man, for saying I sound loud and clear. I see people calling in already, but before we start the show, I want to first address or give my condolences to Sister Melissa S. Williams. She passed away a couple of weeks ago. Her funeral was on in November 21st. A lot of people may not know that she was like one of my first supporters, and she didn't work for New York City Transit. She worked in Staten Island, and you know she always came out to support. So, you know, I went to her funeral, and I don't like funerals. Anybody that know me know that I don't really mess with funerals too much. But I went to show my, you know, show my respect, pay my respects to her because she supported me for the most part in the movement Progressive Action. So RIP to the sister. And look, let's get into the business right now because look, this is going to be a very serious show. right? I feel like the MTA, they don't have no accountability. And one of the reasons why I created Progressive Action, especially in the beginning, was not to only hold the union accountable, but to find a place where we could hold the MTA accountable, because there's no accountability in the MTA. They feel like they could do whatever they want. They don't have to answer to no one. And um, and we want to change those dynamics. So I definitely, y'all definitely should stay to the end of the show, because I'm do something that y'all never, or hold somebody accountable that y'all never seen me do, never seen me really talk bad about. And I'm not gonna talk bad about them today, today either. But I am going to hold them accountable, because what's happening specifically in my department, I feel like it was targeted to some degree. I feel like it was done on purpose, and I want them to, be held accountable. So, let's get into some regular news real quick. Just some bus news. So the MTA will roll out a new fare available on the buses. Did y'all hear about this? Do y'all care about this? More importantly, do y'all care about this? But what the MTA plan on doing is that, once again, because the MTA is not innovative, they don't understand what happens in Europe, um, and what works in Europe may not work here, and it never does work here. So what the MTA plan on doing, instead of using the Eagle team to ask people did they pay their fare and to show their receipts, they want to use non-police, basically regular folk, to say, show me your ticket. Do you guys think that that's a good idea? And this is one of the problems I have with the MTA, is that they never um be innovative. They never set the trends. They always following trends. New York City is the most unique city in the world, right? You have to set the trends. What work in Europe would not work here. It never does. Right? Congestion pricing didn't work over there. I'm waiting for it to fall through over here. You know? So it's pretty silly to me, what they doing with this bus stuff. Oh man, y'all gonna be interested to hear about this, right? So the Trump administration wants the MTA to scrap DEI to restore the Second Avenue Subway Hudson Tunnel projects, right? So y'all know what Trump did. Trump said, I want all the companies to get rid of DEI. And if you don't get rid of DEI, you're going to lose your federal funding, right? That's what Trump did. Trump is a gangster. I don't care if y'all don't like Trump or not. Trump is a gangster. He don't play around. And this is what the MTA had to say about Trump threats about the DEI. He said that they said the U.S. Department of Transportation has specified how the MTA and the Gateway Development Commission must strip DEI out of two key transit projects, which is the next phase of the Second Avenue Subway and the Hudson River Tunnel, in order to restore federal funding. But this is more importantly what Jan Oliba said. He said, we got feedback from the federal government last night, literally. MTA Chairman Jan Oliba said at a public event in Manhattan on Monday, we got feedback from them and we will be acting on it promptly. This will get interesting, people, because what would Jan Oliba do? What would Jan Oliba do? Especially with the MTA, New York City Transit, moving more into a black space. And we go talk about that a little later in the show, because that's where things go get a little interesting. What is Jan Oliba going to do? Is he going to fold to Trump? Because the whole DEI thing, I got mixed reviews on it, to be honest with you. But you see all these activists, they boycotting Target, they boycotting all these different companies that got rid of DEI because of Trump. Which one of you activists is going to boycott the MTA if and when Jan Oliba folds like a lawn chair to Trump? Are y'all going to boycott the MTA? And because the MTA is about getting money, right? And speaking of getting money, they just approved 3 new casinos in New York, right? New York City. They go be all on the outskirts. People was complaining why they wasn't in Manhattan and why they in desolate areas. And to me, the casinos they're being built around the airports, right? And they are two fare zones. They are hard to get to, but for whatever reason, the casinos are coming to New York City, right? And guess what else is happening when the casinos come? Resorts World New York City projects 2.5 billion to MTA in the next 4 years, right? Queens, New York. Resorts World New York City's new projections forecast it will send 2.5 billion to the MTA over the coming 4 years. The estimated 2.5 billion payment will more than cover the expected 1.8 billion MTA projected for the 3 casino license fees and tax payments from 2026 to 2029. We talk about Trump being a gangster. You know who else is a gangster? The MTA. The MTA is gangsters. They go be making $2.5 billion over the next 4 years, right? So they get money from casinos. They get money from congestion pricing. They get money from your cell phone bills. They get money from Uber and Lyft. But they continuously to say that they broke. The MTA is gangster. The MTA is gangster. You know, these politicians and the MTA is a political haven. It's a political haven, the MTA, right? They getting money from everywhere. They taking money from everywhere. Like in order to travel through the city in the comfort of your own car, you gotta pay a congestion price tax. Another tax on the working people. And now they taxing the casinos, right? MTA is gangster. Let's get into some more news. Let's go with this. I covered this on my Instagram a little bit. We could go in debt with a little bit of this. NYC sneaks in 16% pay raises to put on Mondami's desk as a welcome gift. Right? They said that the bill, if Mondami was to sign this, the city council people's salaries would jump from 148,500 to 172,500. That's a huge jump, right? The city comptroller currently makes 210,000. The public advocate is paid 184,000, and the borough presidents make 180,000. And each of them would get 16% pay bumps also, right? Mom Domney's salary will jump, right? Who else salary, what Mom Domney's salary would go to? His salary will go from 258,750 to $300,000 if this was to go through, right? Now, I see a lot of people is upset and they saying, yo, this is sneaky, this is that. And it was sneaky the way they went about it, the way that it was reported, right? It was sneaky the way that they did that. And one thing that they trying to ensure for themselves is that they're going to be able to survive in the city in which they work, where many city workers, transit workers, FDNY, NYPD, and other teachers and other people who work in the city. You don't even have to be a city worker. It's hard for us to survive in the city, specifically without overtime. And when you look at the MTA, the president of the MTA, Demetrius Critchlow, put out a memo back in September cutting overtime. So you can't even make no extra money to survive in the city. And the reason I put this picture on the screen is because they said you have to make $184,000 to survive in New York City, and this is not a lie. You have to make that money to survive in New York City, right? So these city council people are making sure that they able to survive in the city, and there's nothing wrong with that. They didn't get a raise in 10 years, and they deserve a raise. Everyone deserves a raise. Now, I just want to be clear. A 16% raise on 148,000 is not the same 16% raise on 90 or 80 or 100,000, right? 16% on 148,000, you get a bigger dollar amount than 16% on 100,000 or 90,000 or 80,000, right? So we can't, as a society, as working class, as labor, because nobody's really out there advocating for us. You don't really see politicians advocating for the working man, working woman. You don't really see that out there too much. Um, when you look at, wait, let me see, 148, 58, 68, they getting like 20 something extra $1,000. When do our raises ever equal out to 20 something $1,000? So yeah, if we get the same 16% raise that they get, that they want to give themselves, and that's cool to have a job where you could give your own self the raise. You ain't got to negotiate with nobody. You could just give yourself the raise, right? That's pretty crazy, right? But if you were to put 16% on 100,000, it's not gonna be $22,000. So let's not get caught up in the matrix of the percentage raises, right? Because we have to pay attention to the dollar amount. So if they could give themselves 16%, we don't want 16%. We want 30%, 35%, 40%, right? In order to match the dollar for dollar amount of what they got. It's as simple as that. And I see people out there say, Tramel, why do you like we don't negotiate, transit workers we don't negotiate with the city. So why would you care what the city workers got? You want to know why I care what the city workers got? It's because I do my research and I pay attention to what's going on out here. So back in the 2009, 2012 arbitration award, right? Where that we didn't negotiate a contract. Transit workers did not negotiate a contract. We went to arbitration for our contract. And guess what happened during that arbitration? The arbitrator compared us to who? Let me make this picture a little bit bigger for you guys, so y'all can see who they compared us to. They compared us to the PBA, which is NYPD. They compared us to corrections, and they compared us to the firefighters. Yes, those agencies negotiate with the city, but during our arbitration, the arbitrator compared us to city workers. So, yes, we should care about what NYPD get. We should worry about what corrections get. We should worry about what FDNY get, because if they do good, we do good. I don't necessarily agree with patent bargaining, but there's precedent to show that if we were to go to arbitration for a contract for whatever reason, they will use those city agencies to compare us to. So yes, I want NYPD to get the biggest raise that they could get. I want FDNY, corrections, teachers, whoever it may be, to get the biggest raise that they get, because if something was not to go right during negotiations, they're going to compare us to those agencies. And if those agencies do good, then it's obvious that we do good. That's why when I walk this city and I come across teachers and firefighters and police officers and sanitation and security guards and all of these different laborers, it's a sense of unity because I don't only advocate for transit workers, right? I obviously resonate with all these other different people who work because we are all in the same boat together, essentially. I may not represent them, right? I may not directly speak to their issues, but the consensus is if one sector does well, then the other sector does well. There's precedent already set for that. I don't even know what the issue can be. Now I want to let y'all know, I just want to remind y'all real quick. The phone lines are open. I'm not gonna take any phone calls until I start talking about. I see y'all need to stay queued up because I'm taking these phone calls in order, right? The show is it's gonna be a hard stop at 10 o'clock. So I'm gonna make sure I get people phone calls in. I gotta make sure I cover all these topics. Maybe we'll go a little bit over, but this is our first show back, getting back into the swing of things. Trust me when I tell you, it's about to get spicy right now. It's about to get spicy. But like I said, um, we need a sense of unity, not only in our unions, our respective unions, no matter what union you are a part of, but we need unity amongst from union to union to union, right? And this is just my philosophy. We need unity because one thing that stays consistent is that all of these bosses, all of these people who could decide what we get, how we get it, and when we get it, they show unity day in and day out, right? They don't want the MTA don't want FDNY and NYPD to do well because there's precedent to show if they do well and we go down that path, we could use them doing well as an argument for us, and it's vice versa. So we have to stick together as New York City workers in general and have each other back, support each other causes, and fight these bosses. Bottom line, right? Bottom line, we got to fight these bosses. Now, we're about to move into the spice. We're about to move into the spice. Ladies and gentlemen, is it okay to still say that word, ladies and gentlemen? We're about to get into the spice, people. Let me check something real quick. Let me check something real quick. We're about to get into the spice, y'all. And as y'all can see, this show is about MTA accountability. And I feel like, and these are my opinions along with my anecdotal and along with my experience that I'm speaking to this from. First of all, y'all see this hat I got on. I'm in that mood tonight. I'm in that mood tonight. And the MTA, there's no accountability in the MTA, none whatsoever, right? And I feel like that lack of accountability has manifested itself into things I've never seen before, just to put it lightly. And me being the new elected vice president of one of the biggest departments in New York City Transit, and being in tune throughout the years of how the MTA treated this department and other departments, and um, noticing what happened in my department in particular this year. Now, I don't know if they did it because it's me. You know, they wanna push back against me. I mean, I've heard the rumblings. I actually had people from up in the MTA telling me that some people want to give me a hard time, right? And giving me a hard time is making it personal, but them giving me a hard time is actually showing how much content they have for the membership, right? And I'm going to bring up to you guys, I'm people making a Summer Jam screen that never made the Summer Jam screen before. And I'm not gonna sit there and bash them because oddly enough, I respect these folks as as professionals, but I don't think that through their actions, and I'm gonna say this through their actions, I don't think that they mean the membership well. I mean, it's just plain as simple as that. So as you guys know that I was dealing with um this situation. Let me just bring the picture on the screen. I was dealing with this situation, right? Now, I'm gonna bring up a couple of situations. MTA worker seeks $10 million in damages after the subway assault, right? Now, to be honest, it didn't even have to get this far. It didn't have to get this far, right? And just to bring y'all up to speed, because now I could speak about it in more detail here. And to be honest, I'm very disappointed at the people that I'm going to put on the screen today. I'm 100% disappointed because I really tried my best to reason and to reconcile their mistake, the not Eric Shepard mistake, the train operator who was done 100% wrong. No respect for him, right? No respect for the legacy his father left here and his grandfather, right? No respect, right? And they had every opportunity to rectify the situation. So this is not Trammell jumping out the window, getting upset. This is months of me trying to get them to reason to fix this issue. So before we got to the $10 million, I noticed that the tape was edited. I asked for the unedited version of the tape. Labor Relations stonewalled me, told me it did not exist. Me being who I am, anybody who knows me that knows that if I feel like you're spinning me, you're patronizing me, you're trying to take advantage of me, I'm not going to let that slide. And at that point and moment, I felt that the MTA was spinning me, right? And this is not the first time that I felt this feeling. I felt it as a worker. I felt it during my disciplinary process when they did things um, to manipulate outcomes, right? And we're going to talk about that at a later date when I drop my bombshell, right? But uh, I tried everything to get them to do the right thing, right? The MTA essentially edited the tapes. They handed us an edited version of the tapes. I filed the FOIA request, Freedom of Information Law. For those who don't know, you can file a FOIA request on any agency regarding any information, and by law, they are supposed to give it to you. So what happened with Eric Shepard is that once I seen the tape was edited and they did not give us the unedited tape, I told Eric, I said, look, we could fight this. But if they manipulating the situation now and we go to arbitration, who's to say that they won't manipulate the situation there? Because in my case, I felt that they manipulated the arbitrator in that situation, but that's a whole nother story, right? Us as a union, we were prepared to fight it, but the MTA had him up for dismissal, right? So you got this train operator up for dismissal. He was defending himself and his coworker, right? And They was not bending, right? They was not bending. So they offered us a deal of 20 days, right? And he felt slighted. He like, let me see. I know I'm a little frozen right now, but that was part of the reason why. Let me see something for y'all real quick. That was part of the reason why, right? That was part of the reason why he had to take what he took. Let me get this. Let me get this. Let me get this. My screen is frozen, but I'm gonna keep going, right? So what ended up happening was I don't know why this thing froze up.